Hey everyone, and welcome to your Crypto Market Pulse for November 20th. Today, the market had a complete split personality. We've got Bitcoin standing tall, totally unfazed, while literally hundreds of millions of dollars got wiped out in altcoins. Let's get into it.
So, the big story today, no question, is a market that's just completely divided. I mean, on one hand, you've got Bitcoin, just holding strong like an anchor in a massive storm. And on the other, a total sea of red for pretty much all the altcoins. It's a classic tale of two completely different markets playing out at the exact same time.
And if you want to understand just how rough that storm was for the alts, just look at this number. Over $600 million in liquidations in just the last 24 hours. That is a huge amount of leverage just getting flushed from the system, and it's really the main reason for all the pain we're seeing.
This chart right here really tells the whole story of the day, doesn't it? You've got Zcash just rocketing up over 10%, and then you have Ethereum, the king of all altcoins, sliding down more than 3%. That's the divided market in one simple visual.
Okay, so let's start with the bright spot, the anchor of the market, Bitcoin. Seriously, while it felt like everything else was on shaky ground, Bitcoin was showing some incredible resilience.
So the big question is, why didn't Bitcoin drop? Well, a couple of key things. For one, the price stayed incredibly stable right around that $91,800 mark. It just soaked up a ton of selling. And get this, in a move that shows real market maturity, it completely shrugged off news that usually creates panic. A wallet that's been dormant for 13 years suddenly woke up and started moving coins.
And that's not all. We saw long-term holders move over $228 million worth of Bitcoin, and the price barely even blinked. So what does that tell you? It means for every single person who is selling, there was a buyer right there ready and willing to snap it up. The support for Bitcoin right now is just incredibly deep.
All right, now we have to flip the coin and talk about the other side of the story. For altcoins, it was a completely different and frankly, a much more painful day. We are talking a sea of red just about everywhere you looked.
Yeah, if you're holding a diverse bag of altcoins, today was probably pretty rough to watch. The main theme was a massive deleveraging event. That's just a fancy way of saying a lot of risky, borrowed positions got shut down, which then caused prices to fall even faster.
And since we're throwing that word liquidation around, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. A liquidation is basically when an exchange has to forcibly close your trade because you've lost too much of your borrowed money. You can think of it like a safety switch that prevents bigger losses. But the downside is all those forced sales push the price down for everybody else.
Now, if we look at some of the major players, Ethereum was really leading the charge downwards, falling about 3.4%. But then you've got XRP, which has a kind of weird mixed story today. The price is down, yeah, but the community is absolutely buzzing because of a surprise endorsement.
So even with the price in the red, the personality Dave Portnoy went out and announced he'd bought $1 million worth of XRP. Now that didn't save the price today, but it definitely injected a massive dose of hype and positive chatter into the community. It just goes to show you, even on a down day, a big headline can still get people excited.
All this volatility really brings the story home for so many of us investors. So we're curious, how did your portfolio do today? Did you ride out the storm? Let us know what you're thinking down in the comments.
Hey, it wasn't all doom and gloom. In the middle of all that red, a few projects completely defied the market and actually posted some really nice gains. So let's shine a spotlight on the breakout stars of the day.
And here they are. Zcash is leading the entire pack with a huge 10% gain. After that, we've got Pi Network up 5%, and even Solana managed to grind out a 2% gain, which is super impressive on a day like today.
So what was the secret sauce here? Well, for Zcash, it looks like a pure technical breakout. The price just smashed through a key level, continuing a really strong trend it's been on for 2 months. Solana, well, it just outperformed, simple as that, with a lot of strong trading volume behind it. But the story with Pi Network, that one's all about some very big news. So get this. Pi Network just announced that it is now fully compliant with MiCA. That's the huge new crypto regulation framework from the European Union. Now, this is a massive deal, because getting that regulatory green light is often the #1 thing you need to get listed on the big exchanges. And that potential is exactly what's fueling all this speculation and that 120% jump in trading volume.
And just in case you're wondering, MiCA stands for Markets in Crypto Assets. It's this landmark set of rules from the EU. For a project to become compliant, it means they're meeting a really high bar for investor protection and transparency, which is exactly the kind of thing major exchanges love to see.
All right, so let's zoom out and put it all together. After a wild day of such big contrasts, what are the key lessons we should really be taking away from all this?
I think it really boils down to three main things. First, Bitcoin proved once again why it's the anchor of this market. Second, altcoins are still super volatile and really sensitive to these big deleveraging events. And third, and this might be the most important one, fundamentals still matter. A project with a strong chart like Zcash or a huge regulatory win like Pi Network can find a way to win no matter what the rest of the market is doing.
So, what should you be watching over the next few days? Keep a very close eye on one metric: Bitcoin dominance. It basically tells you how much of the total crypto market cap belongs to Bitcoin. The big question now is, are we going to see capital keep flowing out of the risky altcoins and back into the safety of Bitcoin?
And that really leaves us with the final question for the day. In a market that's so clearly split between the stable giant and all the volatile up-and-comers, you just have to ask yourself, where's the smart money going to go next? Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and we'll catch you on the next one.